Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to pause as we let everyone into our webinar today. My name is Noemi Guevara, and I am the Director of Alumni Engagement here at California State University, Long Beach. We thank you for joining us today for our next edition of our 49er Industry Chat. Before we start, I would like to let you know this session is being recorded and it will live on demand on our website at csulb.edu/alumni. We also encourage you throughout the chat today to use our Q&A box located below or above to submit any questions for our guest speaker. And now it's my honor to introduce our guest speaker. Kyle Woodring is the Director of Sales Operations at the only molecular diagnostics company focused solely on breast cancer. He has previously experienced working in analytical roles in various industries. However, for the past 10 years, he has supported sales teams in the healthcare industry. Kyle is a double alumnus of CSULB and earned his BS in Management and Operation Management in 2001 and his MBA in 2003. In his spare time, he enjoys hiking with his family, running, and taking the dog to the dog beach. Hosting today's industry chat, please welcome Kyle Woodring. Thank you, Kyle, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So to kick off our chat today, let's start from the beginning. You know, you attended Long Beach for your undergrad and your master's, but walk us through, why did you choose Long Beach State?
Yeah, I actually started my collegiate career at San Diego State. So my freshman and sophomore year were down in San Diego. I wasn't enjoying my experience and was looking to transition and started exploring Cal State Long Beach. It kind of fit what I was looking for. So started there my junior year of college. Okay. In business. And then, really enjoyed the program. In my senior year there, I was taking an operations management course, and we had someone come in from a local company to do kind of a review of how he was using operations management. He had graduated from Cal State Long Beach the year before. He had come in and kind of gave us a day in the life of what he was doing at a company. It was a joint venture company called Duke Fluor Daniel. Between Duke Energy and Fluor Daniel, which had an office and still does have an office down in Aliso Viejo in Orange County. So he came in and kind of walked through what he was working on in operations management for that company, and said, if there's any graduating seniors who are interested in kind of doing what I do, give me your resume and I'll pass it along. So I did that, and I was able to get an interview, and that was my first career that I had, first job coming out of Cal State Long Beach. So it was, I felt pretty fortunate to be able to, one, kind of start building that alumni network while I was still in school, and be able to leverage that to get an interview with a company that was hiring, and then start within a month of graduating. So it was a pretty exciting start for me after graduating with my bachelor degree. And then while I was there, that company had a tuition reimbursement program. And they also had another thing that I thought was fairly unique to that company. And they had a mentorship program where they assigned you to someone who had been with the company at least 15 years and was either within your department or kind of closely related to what you did there. So I was assigned a mentor within my first few months of starting there, which I thought was great. And I asked him about the tuition reimbursement program, and he said, "Do it, and do it soon. The longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to go back." So I took him up on it, and I took that fall semester off, and then so I graduated May of 2001, and in January 2002, I was in the MBA program at Cal State Long Beach.
Wonderful. What a great story. I think you touched upon a couple of things, that power of mentoring and finding community, and then also that mentoring, finding someone that could guide you into what might be your next role. What advice do you have if you could think back, to your undergrad time of networking or even mentoring for our current students? Like, what advice would you have to them, of making sure that they do it, not think about it too much, but do it?
Yeah, exactly. There's only so much research you can do.
Mhm.
Eventually, you have to take action and you have to
Right.
participate and put yourself out there. So I leverage the Career Development Center at Long
Mhm.
Beach pretty frequently. I was there doing that. That's how I had my resume ready to go. Actually, when that individual came in to talk to us, I didn't know at the end of his talk that he was going to be reaching out and kind of putting it out there to the students in that class that they had roles open. So I just happened to have been prepared at the time and ready to take action on that. So I would say there's a lot of resources available at Cal State Long Beach. So take advantage of them, whether that be from alumni or the different, like the Career Development Center,
Mhm.
where you can get help with interview prep, getting your resume put together, how to do a job search, even be able to identify careers that you might like. You might think you are interested in certain things, but taking some of those, tests that they have available and have you
Right.
start thinking about ways that you can leverage the skills and experience you do have along with the degree that you're learning, and turning that into a career path is also something to help keep you engaged and help you thinking about what your future at after Cal State Long Beach could look like.
Wonderful. I know you started off more of an analytical role and you've grown into the sales, but through your path, any skills or traits that you think are important for either students to learn now or our recent alumni that are out there in the working world to hone on right now? What would you say?
Yeah, I think the first is to kind of really assess what you like to do. Um, Whether you're out there kind of working right now, you have a sense of what part of your day-to-day job you like to do the most, what kind of excites you. And for those that are still kind of going through school, as you're going through, there's a lot of different projects that you do in all these different courses. So as you're
Mhm.
going through those and kind of identifying which ones you're more passionate about, which ones kind of fire you up. Um, Really kind of take note of that and figure out how you keep building off of that. There's so much training and education available now, that you can go out there, and associations where you can go out there and um, start tapping into these different networks and start building upon this interest that you have. In my current role, actually being kind of having the background in analytical work, I've used spreadsheets for most of my career, and that's kind of advanced to business intelligence. And business intelligence is something that I'm very interested in, and something that I utilize on a regular basis. So there's a local Orange County, I'm based down here in Orange County, business intelligence group that meets once a month on different topics related to business intelligence. So it's a way to kind of learn a new topic, engage others that are passionate about that kind of aspect of their job, and learn how to pick up things here and there that everyone can kind of take back and build into what they use on a in their day-to-day career. So I would say kind of do that assessment, and then figuring out what's going to help you kind of learn more and about the things that you're passionate in, and then really jump into it. Figure out what else is out there, other like-minded people you can connect with to start sharing ideas and learning from, and then build that into a skill set that you can then use in your, either if you have the opportunity to take it into your day-to-day job, go ahead and do that. If not, maybe there's a way for you to kind of pivot and transition at either at the company that you're with, if you're currently working, into a new role that you might be more passionate about or might add more value to the company. Or if you're still in school, be able to kind of build up that skill set that you can add to your resume. And then when you're going out there and interviewing for your job after you graduate, you can relate back to these different associations that you're a part of, or these different projects that you've worked on independently, that have really kind of brought this experience to light, and give real life examples of how you're utilizing that skill set.
Wonderful. And I assume Excel is your best friend.
I took my first Excel class in high school, and I've been using it ever since. I'd say almost on a daily workday basis, pretty much every day. Yeah.
I started to get questions from our audience. Were you able to be paired with a mentor early in your career? Do you think it's important to continue with mentors as you mature in your career?
Yes. I'd say if there's, especially if you're kind of going down a path that you don't have that much experience with, or you think you are interested in, I think tapping into a mentor is a great way to kind of accelerate where you might want to go. You might have an idea of what you might want to kind of move into, and being able to tap into a mentor to kind of bounce ideas off of, kind of share your vision and thoughts of what you want to do and how you're thinking about getting there, from somebody who's already walked down that path and kind of can give you some real life experience and feedback, I think is a great way to really kind of solidify if the path you're going down is the right one, or if there's ways that you can get there faster, more efficiently, or if they bring up things that you might not be thinking of that you might not like or might not enjoy. They might be able to point you in a direction of something that might be a better fit for you, depending on what your goals are and what you're really passionate about.
Wonderful. How did you make your way into the healthcare industry? Like, did you ever think you were gonna end, in that industry?
I guess very early on in my when I started my collegiate career, I started off as a biochemistry major, and then transitioned into business, and that's what I got my degrees in. And then I was in various industries. So after I started that first position with that company, Duke Floor Daniel, that ended up dissolving about 1.5 years after I started, I had to start looking for something else. So I was interested in finance at the time. I thought, hey, why don't I try and be like a stockbroker or financial advisor? So I went down that path. I got my stockbroker license, started working for a company as a financial advisor, which is really, it's basically sales. And quickly learned that I'm not a real salesperson, but I like supporting salespeople. So that's what kind of transitioned me into kind of looking for analyst type roles that supported sales teams. So I started doing that in various industries. So I was a pricing analyst for a logistics company, a marketing analyst for an IT company, a business planning analyst for a consumer electronics company, until I finally moved into a sales operations role with this company called Edwards Life Sciences, based down in Irvine, California. And that was my kind of introduction into the life sciences biotechnology space. And I really kind of found a passion for the industry. It has a lot of the same kind of business elements that you find in any other industry. How do you get in front of your customers? What is the right sales cadence? How do you price your products? Kinds of all those things that you see in every other business. But there is some nuance to it. I really enjoyed the work, especially when you are able to see a lot of the end products that the company works on are going to helping people with some sort of condition. So Edwards Life Sciences, their core product is an artificial heart valve. So helping people with aortic stenosis get a heart valve replacement is what they do. So it's life-saving technology. They would at every quarterly employee meeting, they always have a patient story. So they go out there and interview a patient that had one of our valves put in the place of their faulty valve, and talked about how they felt going into it, how they were sluggish and tired and scared going through the surgery. And then once they came out of it and got through recovery, how good they felt. And just knowing that you're part of an organization that is really helping people is something that you can get passionate around. And so, yeah, that was my kind of introduction to the industry. And I don't plan on leaving the healthcare industry.
Yeah, that you kind of answered one of my questions. Like, how does it feel to be part, of a company that is saving lives literally every day,
It's really rewarding, even though you're not the person that's going out there and helping that patient directly. There's a lot of work on the back end to make sure those patients are getting the treatments that could potentially save their lives. Physicians are like any other kind of customer. They're kind of inundated with people wanting their time from both a kind of patient perspective as well as companies that are trying to show them why their product is the best for their patients. So being able to kind of get in front of them and walk through the clinical research to show them why your product is beneficial and how it can benefit their patients, showing what the outcomes of their patients are after receiving one of our products, and then them kind of understanding it and starting incorporating it into their practice, and then seeing these great outcomes that happen from their patients that use these technologies is really rewarding, and something that kind of continues to help drive you and motivate you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, definitely. So I have another question from our audience members. How is sales in healthcare different than sales in another industry? And you kind of just answered that.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, you still have to, you're still fighting for time when you're a salesperson. The people that will be using your product, regardless of industry, still have their day-to-day job to do. So getting in, being able to figure out how to get in front of them and show them what the benefit is to them and their practice by utilizing the products that you're producing, that's always going to be the core challenge. With biotechnology and life sciences in particular, the additional challenge is you have to be able to speak that clinical language as well. And you have to go out there and be able to describe the clinical benefits of why your product is superior to another product, or another way of doing a surgery, or another way of diagnosing a patient. So you have to really spend the time to understand what it is you're selling, why you're selling it, and what that value is, what the end value is for both that physician that's going to be utilizing it, as well as the patient that they're treating.
Right. And that leads me kind of to the next question, like, how do you stay current on the molecular diagnostics and the biology healthcare side of what you do to strengthen your sales ability?
Yeah, so we have a lot of leading edge clinicians within our company. And I think most other companies are like this as well. They're really at the forefront of knowing the business and knowing the technology. And then they're tasked with also training all the employees as well. Here's what we're working on. Here's why it's beneficial. Here's what the next version of this is going to look like after we get through trials or whatever it is that they need to get to. And here's how this product is going to be help more people. Here's how it's going to be better. So that's kind of one way that we get educated on products. Other companies are also pretty good at putting their employees, regardless of what industry they're in. So whether they're in human resources or finance or accounting, they put most companies in the industry will put their all employees through some level of product training and company training. So here's what the company is, here's how it's founded, here's the products we sell, and here's how it's used. So everyone will have at least a basic understanding of the products that company is selling. And then if it's really up to, depending on how far you want to go, it's really up to the individual as far as how educated they want to be. There's a lot of resources out there. There was a course through Coursera that I took when I joined my current company, Agendia, that taught the ins and outs of breast cancer. So here's the different types of cancers. Here's how their it went into the genetic makeup of them and the different profiles and those kinds of things. So I found that hugely beneficial just to advance my own learning as I came into the company, so that when I heard all these people that had a pretty deep clinical background talking about these different innovations that were happening with our products, it clicked for me and I was able to make better sense of it. I couldn't go into a deep clinical conversation with them, but I understood enough that it made sense to me.
Yeah, we all have that like life learner, forever.
Absolutely.
Role sometimes, What does your day to day look like? Share with us, what does a typical day look like for you?
It's very different day to day. I support the sales organizations being in a sales operations role. So that encompasses a lot of things. At its core, it's really trying to identify ways to allow the sales team to be as efficient as they can. So that's building in the processes and systems so that the sales team knows or has a kind of guide as far as how to best align their time and who they should be talking to that day. So systems that are kind of core to sales and sales operations are called customer relationship management tools. Most people have heard of the company Salesforce. So Salesforce is by far the biggest one in the industry. And basically every organization that sells something is going to have some sort of customer relationship management tool that they utilize to track who their customers are, who their potential customers are, and where they should be spending their time on a day-to-day basis, whether it be talking to someone new, if they have something scheduled with someone existing to talk about, a new product we might have coming out, and really be able to utilize the most efficient way for them to kind of talk to customers and create some sort of cadence and processes from introducing them to what we do to kind of getting them on board and having them, in the case of Agendia, order their first test on one of their patients through us. And then kind of all those steps in between and identifying. One of the things I've done in my last few roles is kind of identify the way that physicians purchase our product and align our sales process to match that, so that we can say, okay, here's kind of the different steps that are needed when a physician is interested in learning more about us. Here's how to talk to them about which patient population they have might be would be a best fit for the products that we sell. And then here's kind of the other steps needed to take along the way, as far as filling out the right documentation and whatnot, to be able to implement our products and have that physician start using them on their patient populations.
Wonderful. What is the biggest challenge you face in your role, and what is your managerial style for your team?
A biggest challenge is probably just prioritizing time. There's this great book that I read a year or two ago called Make Time. It was written by a couple ex-Google employees. And at its core, it's basically, kind of forces you to identify what is your highlight for the day. So what is the one thing you have to get done? And then kind of list everything else that's kind of secondary to it. And then your whole day kind of focuses on that one thing until that one thing is done. Everything else is kind of out of sight. You put blinders on until you finish that one thing, your highlight for the day. It kind of walks through turning off distractions. So how to use the settings on your phone so you're not getting notifications every 30 seconds. How to turn the notifications off on your computer so you're not getting all these instant messages that pop up all the time, and all those kinds of things, so that you can really focus on what's important for the day. Because I think we've all kind of been there when we have this kind of great list of things we want to accomplish in a day. And then it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and we didn't get to any of them because all these other things like filled our inbox or something like that. And then we just, you're like, what happened to my day? So that's been something new that I've kind of implemented so that I could remain focused on what's important and everything else comes second. And that includes blocking out time on the calendar to look and respond to emails at the end of the day. Because if you put it at the beginning of the day, that usually destroys the rest of your day. So for anyone out there who has not read that book, I would highly recommend it. It's a pretty quick, easy read, and has transformed kind of the way I structure my workday. And yeah, I guess yeah.
That's wonderful. I need to look for that book because at the end.
So I guess the short answer
has a star and it has to be done today.
Yes. So I guess time management is kind of the short version of answering the most challenging part of my day-to-day.
Definitely. What skills complement you? I have a question from an audience. What skills complement you in this field? As a student, what other skills should I work on while I'm in school so I can stand out when I start applying for jobs?
Yeah, so I would say a good way to kind of identify where you should be focusing your time is start evaluating what kind of job you want to take after you graduate, and then start looking at what those positions require. So some of them, might say you have to be well-versed in Excel or good at being able to present data. So those are skills you can learn and start utilizing as a student. Microsoft has this section on their site called Microsoft Learn, and it's essentially free learning of any of their products. So if you want to learn Excel or their business intelligence tool, you can learn it for free through there. if you want to get good at presenting, there's different ways to kind of present information. Most things are done in PowerPoint, so take some time to learn how to do either PowerPoint or Google Slides well. There's a lot of free resources for that. If you have kind of an analytical background, if you're in finance or accounting, and you want to be able to learn how to tell a story with financial data, there are great resources for that as well. There's I follow this company called Storytelling for Data through LinkedIn, and they also offer books and courses in how to effectively visualize data in your presentations, and I found that pretty useful. They have some paid courses and things, but they also have some free courses as well. So it's just kind of identifying where those resources are, and then build out your skill set. So if you go through those and you can take some of those presentations that you're doing and some of those the projects that you are presenting in your courses today, you can always have those available and attach those as things that you've accomplished and things that you've done when you're submitting your resume to these positions. When you're filling out those job applications through different company websites, they now offer a lot of typically a lot of area for you to attach additional documents other than just your resume. So along with your cover letter, which I would also always suggest that you fill out a cover letter to tell them why you're interested in the job and how you would add value to the company. Include some of that work that you've already done to prove that you have that skill set and really show them what you can do and how you can kind of hit the ground running once you come on board.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. When you are filling vacancies in your team, what are you looking for in bringing someone on board?
Yeah, humility and coachability are kind of two key aspects I think are vital for pretty much any role that someone would be filling. That's definitely something in whether it be a sales rep that we're looking to hire, or an analyst type of role. Someone who takes the time to kind of understand what you're trying to tell them, can take that feedback and incorporate it into what they're doing, and then really kind of take it to heart. Someone who's looking to be trained, someone who's looking to be coached, so they can improve. My job as a manager is to help employees succeed. So the only way I can help you succeed is if you are really listening and kind of taking that feedback, and then going back to the original, kind of taking action. If you take action and start incorporating it into your work, and that's visible, then you're going to succeed no matter what role you're in.
Definitely, I agree with you. How have you seen the sales industry evolve over the last 10 years, and more specifically in the last year during COVID?
Yeah, so I would say same as most people, everyone had to learn how to do things almost 100% virtually. Mm-hmm. With in the biotech sector, we're interacting with physicians primarily as our customers, and there's very few opportunities to kind of sit down with them and have meetings with them in person. Some of those are at industry events that they would attend to they would really go to get education, see what products are coming out in the kind of sector of healthcare that they work in. And it gave them the ability to kind of ask questions and kind of learn in this huge format. There'd be thousands of people that would attend these conferences. And of course, that kind of went away last year. So they all became virtual events, which are not as effective. You can't really build those kind of relationships or have that kind of rapport virtually, or it's much more difficult to do it that way. Otherwise, we would typically have like lunch or dinner meetings because those were the only times that they were available when they weren't seeing patients. So that was definitely a change. Some physicians were more accommodating to kind of taking on this virtual interaction and starting to build relationships that way. But a lot weren't. Even this year, there's a lot of physician offices that have decided to close their doors to third parties coming in, open to patients only through the rest of the year. So we won't have the ability to kind of have in-person meetings with those physicians until next year. So that's definitely been a change and an added challenge. So we kind of do as much relationship building as we can virtually, and see if we can, start those conversations. But with some of them, they've clearly indicated that they're not looking to kind of restart those kind of engagements until next year.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, everything's changing or becoming a new normal,
Yes,
during this
indeed.
time. Healthcare is one of the fastest growing industries. Like, what do you foresee? I mean, you just kind of answered right now, the future will look like for, what the biotechnology and what you do.
Yeah, I would say healthcare is kind of mirroring and incorporating a lot of what's happening in technology in general. As technology and software are advancing, that's kind of feeding into healthcare as well. When I was at Edwards Life Sciences, I was involved in a product that was taking a lot of patient data, looking at how the heart ejected blood out through the valve to, and all of that, those images were captured through and then uploaded and evaluated through a machine learning model to identify, okay, which patients might have aortic stenosis and need a heart valve replacement and which ones don't. And that created a brand new software product that was available to do this diagnosis in a very fast, efficient way. And it grew so fast that in, I want to say, under 3 years, it started from a pilot project into spinning off into its own company. So things are, and that machine learning and AI being incorporated into more of what healthcare does is definitely changing the landscape. It's making things go faster. With COVID, there's a website that tracks the different stages of all the vaccine developments that are out there. And the last time I checked, it was around 75 or 80. So there's so many different organizations that have these different ways of utilizing technology to advance healthcare. And they're all advancing at a pretty rapid pace. That's creating a lot of opportunity for people that want to get into this field because they're going to need to find support for them across the board. All those companies will need to be funded because before you can sell anything, you actually have to create it. And that takes an investment. So the finance folks that are out there, there's companies that need to be funded so that they continue their research, and all of that kind of upfront clinical startup technologies also need a lot of support. They still need human resources people because they are employees of this company, even though they're not selling anything yet. It takes lab technicians. It takes a commercial team to figure out, okay, once we get this thing rolling, how are we going to sell it? How do we get it in front of physicians who would be utilizing it? So that's marketing. That's management. There's operations management, because you have to build it, you have to ship it out there. So all the different aspects of those companies that are starting off before they're selling a product need to be supported from a business infrastructure perspective. So yeah, I guess if you have an interest in a technology, whether it be personal or just as a kind of interest in what it does for patients that have those diseases, there are companies working on all kinds of different technologies to help people. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity in the space.
You just highlighted how important, a business degree can be in all these different areas, of the industry. Question from an audience member: did getting your MBA help you with your career? For new graduates, do you recommend that we get an MBA or work experience first?
I would say work experience for two reasons. One is I don't think you can really get a good idea of what it is you like to do until you start doing it. So going out there and trying it first. So you might graduate with your undergrad degree in marketing and find out you're more of a numbers person and you prefer accounting or finance. Or vice versa. You graduated with an accounting degree, but you found that you like to be a bit more creative and you want to kind of work in that marketing space. So I'd say until you kind of get that real world experience and get to test it out, you don't know where you want to kind of advance your education. So what you want to go back and get your MBA and specialize in until you have that understanding. And then the second reason would be if you join, typically it's larger organizations that offers some sort of reimbursement. So instead of paying all of it out of pocket or taking on a loan to get that graduate degree, you could work for an organization that's going to help you pay for it and support you along the way.
Definitely. Yeah, get reimbursed, or hopefully, they'll pick up the whole cost.
That would be nice.
You're a longtime mentor through the Student Center for Professional Development. What's been your experience mentoring CSULB students? Why is mentoring important to you now as a working professional?
Yeah, I think it goes back to kind of that first job I had coming out of college with my bachelor's degree, where I was able to get paired up with somebody who had been working in the industry and with that company for almost 20 years at that time when we had been connected. So I think being able to, without having kind of walked down the path yourself and have that real world experience, being able to tap into somebody who has, to kind of bounce ideas off of and ask questions that, will take a lot of time to kind of do yourself to get that real world experience yourself, I think is hugely valuable. So I just wanted to kind of give back wherever I could. And that mentorship program through the business school was one way for me to do that.
Wonderful. So we have 1 minute left, but before we go, I would like to just ask you, any final advice, any final words you'd like to share with our students and our alums who might watch the recording in the future?
Yeah, I would say follow your passions, jump into it, try it out. Failure is only bad if you don't learn anything from it. So as long as you gain the experience, it's good to fail, because you learn what you don't like or what you don't want to move forward with. So fail fast, fail often, learn from it, and then keep going. Iteration is the key to life. Never stop learning, never stop improving. And yeah, your passions will kind of guide your happiness. So kind of always have that at the forefront.
Right. And before we go, like if there's any of our students or even alumni that want to network and connect with you, I know you're on LinkedIn. Are you okay if they were to befriend you on LinkedIn and make
Absolutely.
that they watched your chat today?
Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, Kyle, it's been great getting to know you. Congratulations on an amazing career. You're saving lives every day, and we're very happy to have you as one of our alumni, double alumni in the working world.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Please visit our website or follow us on social media to learn about future chats like this. We thank you for your time and have a great day.